Good morning, everyone. I'm Assemblymember Tony Simone. We're here gathered with service providers, social service organizations, elected officials, and the business improvement districts from around the state and the business community. For far too long, we have not dealt with the mental health crisis the way we should have. This is no detriment to the service providers and great organizations like Fountain House or Phoenix House. They all do a very difficult job, but we often don't give them the resources they need. Recently, my team put out a SUM report to address the needs of those with substance abuse that are literally in our streets across our state and nation, the mental health crisis, and folks who are unhoused. It's all connected. You can't just pass 2 or 3 laws and think we're going to solve this problem. You have to have a housing first model, a clubhouse model, and pay those folks in this industry a living wage by increasing the COLA to 7.8%. I think that's the amount we want. But we also have to ensure that when we deal with the mental health crisis, we do have to make some hard decisions. We are not all in agreement on everything. We are a broad, diverse coalition trying to come together to solve this problem. And beyond having a housing first model, we also need to ensure that if someone is in need of help, we need to change the definition of basic needs. We must have compassion for those living in our streets. I'm sick of seeing people living in the streets. I walk through my district every day when I'm in the district and see how folks are suffering. A woman in Times Square who has maggots in her legs refusing help. A gentleman who screams at the top of his lungs at women in playgrounds who now want to leave the city. And at the same time, we don't want to go too far to mess it up more, because sometimes laws have unintended consequences. But we need a holistic, multi-pronged approach to the mental health crisis. We've waited too long to do this. We need supportive housing in every district in this state and nation. We need services throughout the state and nation. But we also have to have outreach workers working with the bids and the business community to ensure folks living on the street are not a harm to themselves or others. And we need to change certain laws, like the 730 law. Right now, if an individual has committed a misdemeanor, which could lead to a felony, and is deemed mentally incompetent to stand trial, many times we lose track of that individual. And sometimes it turns deadly. That's what happened in my district to someone who was stabbed, a construction worker on the west side and east side of Manhattan, and a construction worker died, an innocent construction worker. The gentleman, the perpetrator who was accused of the crime, was asking for help and was ignored because he was deemed mentally incompetent. We need to change the 730 law to ensure that they have long-term assisted care. The person who pushed Michelle Go asked for help, and the system failed all of us. So we need to take a new approach, a holistic approach. We can't just change 1 or 2 laws, but we do. I support the Supportive Intervention Act by Ed Braunstein. Not everyone here may support that, and that's okay. I support changing the definition of basic needs, but I also support ensuring that we have more Fountain Houses, more Phoenix Houses. We ensure that people who do this hard job are paid enough that they can live in the city and do this hard work. It is a multi-pronged approach. We won't solve it all this session, but we have to start now. Not one more individual should be living on the street without the proper care. Not one more individual should be a harm to themselves or to others in our great city and state. We have the resources, now we have to have the will. And I asked the governor to talk to my colleagues in my House and in the Senate. It can't be just a no to everything. I'm sick of people telling me you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, and the problem continues. I need 5 or 10 yeses. What can we do to begin to solve the mental health crisis? What can we do to ensure that those who are unhoused and are possibly have issues with the public or themselves, a harm to themselves or others, are actually housed? And how do we support the folks here who do the hard work every day of helping those in need? There's no more excuses. It's time to take action to solve the mental health crisis.